we were in negotiations.
Investing in real estate.
They're winning, they're making money.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Real Estate Educators Podcast, where we provide the education you can build on. I am your host, Kevin Amolsch. This podcast has been so much fun. Season 3, we are helping real estate investors and real estate educators build their wealth. So whether you're providing content to investors or you're an investor yourself, this is the podcast for you. I got a really sweet special guest with me today, Mrs. Maya Brown. So Maya, we've been working together for a little while now. You're our very first internal loan officer. So welcome to Pine. I know it's taken a little bit of time to get up, but you're definitely rolling now. One of the reasons we hired you is because of your experience as a real estate investor. So you were an investor and an agent first and then lender.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to kind of get to know your story a little bit. So Maya, welcome to the show.
Yeah. So, initially into real estate, my brother had his own commercial brokerage here in Colorado, Square State Realty. And he had been begging me to get my real estate license forever just because he actually lives in Chicago, but is licensed in Colorado. So what he wanted was somebody to run errands for him in Colorado. And I needed to have a license in order to do that. So I went ahead and I got my real estate license. And initially I was just going to be working with him with his commercial real estate business. And as I got into that, I thought, well, I want to try some residential and word of mouth. I did a couple of deals, couple of listings, worked with a couple of buyers. And, before you knew it, my mom was a fix and flipper for some years, like back before 2008, like in the early 2000s. So I had some experience just kind of seeing her do it. And, before long, I watched a little HGTV and was ready to roll.
I want to go back to the HGTV. I want to talk about that as well.
Yeah.
Go back to your mom flipping.
Mm-hmm.
So is that what gave you the inspiration to fix and flip? I mean, you became an agent first and then you started fixing and flipping. So
I did. I didn't go into, being a real estate agent thinking that I was going to fix and flip. It just kind of became, once you get into the business, you start seeing other people doing it. And you're going and you're seeing listings with buyers and clients and speaking to people, and you see wow, people are out here really, doing these fix and flips, and some are doing well, some aren't, but you think, after a while with your knowledge that maybe you could do well at it. My mom, I wouldn't say she crushed it when she was doing it, but she always ended up, on top and had a couple of rental properties for a really long time. She's just, gotten up in age and not wanting to do the whole landlord thing anymore. So she kind of liquidated some of her rental properties, which, at her age was probably a smart thing to do. But certainly I think my mom doing it gave me the confidence that, I had the right people behind me and had the, some of the experienced people that I could go to that could, tell me what I should do. And I didn't always listen. Honestly, my mom gave me some advice that I did not follow. And, that ended up not working out for me. So, yeah.
For all the moms out there.
I know, right? I got to tell her on this podcast that she was right about a lot of things.
So she was not necessarily your inspiration, but she was definitely in your corner, it sounds like.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't say that I had an individual inspiration. It was just, it kept getting thrown into my face, like when the universe just keeps presenting something and presenting something. And, it's like after a while, you're like, well, maybe I shouldn't keep ignoring this. Maybe I should give it a try. And so it was more that than it was any one person or individual that inspired me to do it. It just seemed like the opportunity just kept coming up in my life.
And you've done several. What was real estate like in your mind back in high school and college, or is it really
my gosh,
when you were just...
never. I wish it would have been, now in hindsight, it's like that's not something that I was thinking to do. I was and we talked about it kind of in my first podcast, but, I was very single-minded on being a sports broadcaster. That was my dream since I was young. That was my goal. I mean, that's what I was focused on. Now I have bought and sold a lot of real estate, on my own, just as a consumer, but, didn't have that in my mind at all. It was something that just kind of turned over and happened, one thing led to another, but it wasn't something that I was aspiring to. But I've enjoyed it. I really have enjoyed it. And a lot of the qualities or, skills that I have as a broadcaster, as far as interviewing people, getting to know people, knowing what they like, knowing how to get information out of them and, find the best house that's going to fit their personality and their lifestyle. I mean, some of those things actually ended up, being useful for me.
Yeah, and that's a good point you're bringing up about the skills as a broadcaster. We did our first video shoot, if you want to call it that, together,
Hmm.
right? When we all get together and we all go to my house and we all hang out for the day and shoot videos. And you were so good. It's like this is your what, your first time doing videos at Pine Financial, and you crushed it. So we're definitely going to try to get you more involved in videos, of course. And we talked a little bit. I don't know if we mentioned this to you yet, but the Success Summit, like trying to get you up on stage if you're open to that.
Oh, I was. It was funny because Jared did say, he's like, so, are you okay hosting the or doing some hosting for us? And I was just like, yeah, gosh, all this other stuff is the hard stuff. That all the hosting, that's easy. That's easy. This getting
And
into all
most
these
people would say the
files.
opposite.
No, getting into these files and numbers and estimates and things like that, that's been the difficult part. Yeah, as far as just getting up and talking to people, that's pretty easy for me.
Yeah, especially for you in your position, because you came in as our very first very first internal LO, and you've gotten a lot of my deals, which aren't always the easiest. Give me an example of a complicated deal you've worked on.
I wouldn't the deals themselves are not complicated once you get all of the information. I would say what's difficult about your deals is just that everyone's so used to working with you that I mean, whether you have some like mind body like like connection with your clients and they can send you one line in an email and you know exactly what they want from like head to toe. That's kind of what I would say was more difficult, but it was also learning the process at the same time as dealing with some of your more complicated deals. But I tell you what, the first time like a 90% rolled in, it was like
Oh, this
it
is
was so
easy.
easy. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
so easy, after doing, ground up construction deals and commercial deals, really expansive commercial deals and, the infamous mezzanine deal. After dealing with those and then the 90% comes in, it's like, wait a minute, that's it. So I love a good old 90% loan.
Yeah,
Those are
and
my
I do
favorite.
too, because they're easy and you could just get them through quickly. I also like the complexity, and I think maybe you're starting to learn to enjoy that as well. Like an example that I'm thinking of right now, and I think you were just working on it right before we hit record. A lot of times we've seen clients buy condo buildings and then or buy apartments and make them into condos. Like
Yeah.
they split them, and they might buy a building with 12 units and sell 12 individual units. Buy it as one, sell it as 12. What we haven't seen is buying individual units and putting them together. That's a little unique, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Yeah. So that particular client you're discussing, they want to take a condo building and actually convert it into an apartment building. So, but in order to do so, they have to have enough units to take control of the homeowners association. And it sounds really complicated, but it also sounds really cool. And the building itself is very attractive. So, once I get that thing rolling, I think it's going to be easy to fill those units and probably, make a really good profit for that client. It's going to take a little patience, I think, on our part, because it's going to take a little bit longer than most of the deals that we're used to working with. But I mean, I think in the end, the partnership is good.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So once you hit 80%, um, they're gonna take over majority and take control of the HOA immediately. But once you hit
Mhm.
80% owner, you qualify for agency debt. So think about your Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac loans. Now, those aren't typically available in the commercial space, but on multifamily they are. So now you have government-backed debt on like a apartment basically, but you only
Yeah.
own 80% of them, right? And then they're going to plan to increase the HOAs, which is going to make it a bit uncomfortable for the rest of the owners, which one helps them acquire those, but two, the HOA needs that money to take care of the building. It's been neglected.
Yeah, and I think it has a rooftop pool, and there's some issues with the windows. But like I said, you can actually see the arch. If you look out some of the decks, you can see the St. Louis arch from the building.
Yeah, it's
Really cool
beautiful.
views, and it's a beautiful building. And I think people will sounds to me like those HOAs are really affordable, and people also know when they're due for a little bit of a
You
HOA
think
increase. And
so?
with that, yeah, I think so. I mean, it might irritate you, but sometimes when things are getting done in the building and you can see where those HOA dollars are going, I think it feels so much better, knowing, oh, okay, well, we're going to add this and we're going to have a nicer entryway and, they're going to upgrade the pool. And when people come to visit me, this place is going to look a little bit nicer. I just really think when it comes to HOAs, that's what people want more than anything is just to see how their money is working and have it be tangible in their life.
Yeah, I agree. So it's a pretty exciting deal. Now you're working on all these complicated deals, except for the 90 percenters, and you haven't been doing much on your own, the fixing, flipping on your own. What's the aspirations there?
Yeah, I think ever since I got to Pine, I was just like, wow, I really want to get into this. But also, the adjustment for me going to a full-time job, it was like when you're flipping a home, that's kind of a full-time job
Yeah,
too.
that is.
I had a partner that I was working with, and she has three really small children. So I was doing most of the legwork, the back and forth to the house. I mean, she was definitely doing things behind the scenes and helping me out whenever she could. But there's a lot of work involved. And even for my personality, it's hard for me to even go a day without going to look at the project. And just knowing that the people showed up to work,
Yeah.
knowing no, I mean, like honestly, right?
No,
Did
that's
they
real.
even show up today? I mean, I want to check that. I want to see what they're working on, where they're at. A lot of times contractors will just, take it upon themselves to make decisions on their own. So I remember feeling a lot of anxiety about wanting to just be involved at every single step. And so I think I probably have to get a little bit more comfortable with that part of it, of like just saying, let this project go and maybe pop in a couple of times a week and check it out. And Kevin, honestly, that might be good for me because I have a tendency to get attached to my flips. So there might be some give and take there with maybe if I'm not so invested that I don't get, emotionally involved in the flip. So I'm always online. Like you walk by my computer, like toward the end of the day, I'm probably like looking at properties because if I've finished everything and it's like 4:30, I'll usually start looking at properties then. So I mean, it's in the back of my mind for sure.
So you would do another one if one
Oh,
came across your desk.
absolutely. If something came across like just some lucky, somebody's moving out next door to me and just want to get rid of it. And so, I would jump on something like that right away. I think right now it's just the effort that it does take to even nail down a property. I haven't probably put as much time into that as I could, but if something fell in my lap, I would do it today.
That's good to hear because I agree that you should be considering flipping at any time, and a lot of people are concerned right now. We have high interest rates, this sticky inflation. You have the unemployment numbers much higher than what the government was expecting. So you see chaos in the stock market. There's a lot of fear of a looming recession, and you're saying I would still do a deal if I could find one.
Oh,
So what do you think?
if there's one thing I learned as a real estate agent, it's that, maybe the market isn't crazy like it was at one point, but there's still people out there that need to buy homes. And there's still people that need to move from their homes. And there's still people out there that unfortunately, have to change their circumstances. Maybe they had a relative pass away or, there's a million circumstances why people have to leave a home or buy a home. And those things have not gone away and they'll always be there. So I think knowing all of those different circumstances and having been through it from that end, I'm never worried about whether the house will sell, but I am worried sometimes about picking the right house and making sure that that the house is in a location and is going to, fetch a quick sell or a relatively quick sell. And sometimes it's hard to, have a thumb on what that would be. I know with my last flip, it was really close to a major road. Wasn't on a major road, but it was really close to a major road. But that road had tons of bars and cool restaurants on it. I thought that would be a selling point, and the major feedback that we got was, yeah, it's, we like that it's close, but it's a little too close, to the action. So, sometimes those are things you just don't know until you get into a
Yeah.
property. But, I at the same time, like I said, if something looked right to me, I would do it like right now, especially
So
now I work here.
yeah, exactly. We could help. We could
Yeah.
help you. We would love to see that. So
Mhm.
we do our little masterminds. I've mentioned it on this podcast a couple of times. We do our little masterminds once a month, and that's where we as a team get together and we talk about our own personal goals. It has nothing to do with Pine Financial at all. In fact, I don't even think Pines come up in one of those meetings. It's all very much your personal goals.
Mhm.
So we would love to have a deal in the room that we could talk about and help you through.
I completely agree. I hope it's me. I really do hope it's me. I'm going to continue to keep looking, and like I said, I think the diligence of the looking every day and going to see properties when you can, and even like Erica and I, we go on walks around just around this area, and I have like a little email that's sent to me within like a half-mile radius of the office even, and when we go on our walks, sometimes we go and look at houses. So you just never know. You never know when something's going to pop up, or just kind of keeping your ear to the ground and maybe finding something off market, which would be ideal.
Yeah. So if I was a newer investor, like many of the listeners to the show, what's some advice you'd give them in this really scary economic time?
I think and we encourage our first time borrowers to have a mentor. And I just really think that's important. And it's something that I wish, like I said, even though my mom did fix and flips, there was kind of a time gap in between. But really having that mentor and somebody that you can bounce ideas off of to just keep you from making the big mistakes. But here's the deal: you have to listen to your mentor.
That's great.
don't think don't think you know everything. You have to listen to your mentor. But I would say that's really the most important thing, is shadowing somebody and getting a realistic view of what doing a fix and flip looks like. And and not thinking that one flip is going to solve all your problems.
This episode is brought to you by Pine Financial Group. Pine Financial is a private lender specializing in short-term rehab lending to real estate investors. Got a property that needs some love? We can help. We are able to offer funding solutions because we raise private money from individual investors. With more than 15 years of experience, Pine offers passive investors an alternative that provides stability, consistency, and security to your portfolio. If you like real estate but want to avoid the ups and downs and effort, a Pine mortgage fund could be a perfect fit for you. Accredited investors will experience an 8% preferred return and profit sharing. Diversify your portfolio out of Wall Street and into Main Street with a Pine Financial Group mortgage fund. Get more information at pinefinancialgroup.com. That's pinefinancialgroup.com. Take advice from your advisors. That's great advice.
Yes.
And you, because you have experience as an agent, you have experience fixing and flipping. You talk to people every single day that are in this business. If they had a fix and flip and they called you, would you be willing to share some of your advice, experience, opinions?
Oh, I have. And, especially there was one flipper that we had recently that was like putting heated floors into the bathroom and, buying these extravagant light fixtures. And I mean, at that point, I didn't tell them what to do, but I just was like, be careful with your budget. Some of these items don't really add value to the home. You may love that $700 light fixture, but the
Yeah,
next person might come in, they might not even like it. And they get rid of it. So I think especially on the end where people start buying items and in their scope of work, like, hey, do you need this? Do you think this would be your money would be better spent here instead of here? I feel pretty comfortable with that, and especially for the first time borrowers, they seem very open to
yeah.
hearing advice, and I think it makes them trust us more as their lender too, that we want them to do well. And I really do want all of our borrowers to do well. It gives everyone a little bit more hope and a little bit more push, and when you see them succeed, it feels really good.
And doesn't that feel good?
It does.
I mean, you really are out there changing lives. Um, I think Pine as a company is out there changing lives because we're helping our passive investors make money. We're helping our borrowers make money, giving
Yeah.
advice and getting them into maybe it's their very first deal. And that could launch a career. Like, I mean, they could fall into this career like you did.
Yeah, and I definitely told people I didn't think they should do a deal, and felt very confident about it. And maybe sometimes they hang up the phone and they call another lender, but other times they don't. Other times they walk away from the deal and bring me something different. And I think that's great. Don't be afraid to walk away from something. You may think it looks great, but make sure you take the time and run the numbers and talk to somebody about it just to make sure.
Yeah, I love that you just said that. I preach this, and I know you've heard me say it, but this is a relationship business. We are in a relationship business, not a transaction business. And what that means is we really do want our clients to succeed, right? Because
Yeah.
that means that they're probably going to come back. First of all, we want that for them, but two, they'll probably come back and borrow from us again. If we're just out there making loans like some of our competitors and our clients are losing money, what's the longevity of that?
Yeah. And I actually just had last month, I had for the first time two repeat borrowers. So that was kind of cool. Because I see a lot of the other loan officers, they have people that are coming back and coming back. And so last month, that was my first time having somebody come back and do another loan. And I actually had two borrowers come back and do second loans. So that was really cool. And it felt nice.
No, that does feel good, doesn't it?
Yeah. But I'm always looking online because I want to see when they actually close the loans. Like, the getting started part is the easiest part. Well, I guess pulling the trigger is probably the hardest part. But once you've pulled the trigger, then it's like just getting it to the finish line. So I'm always kind of staying in touch with the borrowers, like, how's it going? Do you need any help? Do you need any assistance? Like, where are you at? And sometimes they'll engage you, sometimes they won't, but that's okay. I still like to check in and try to start that dialogue anyway.
Back to the motivation to get in the business. So
Hmm.
you kind of fell into it because your brother, you said, right?
Yeah.
And then HGTV.
Oh,
So
yeah. I mean, everything just looks so great, doesn't it?
yeah.
I mean, everything, and they have the one hiccup, like, hey, everyone, they got the one little tragedy per show, where there's a leak in the pipe or something like that, and they go a little over budget, but it always gets fixed, and in the end, they make tons of money and sell on the first day and move on to the next one, and I, of all people, having worked in television, should know that that's fake. But I will say that it does serve a purpose in the fact, I mean, if it does motivate people to go out and try new things, even if there's a little bit of lipstick on it that, you're not going to experience once you get into it. If it gives you that push to go and do it just on the hope or on the dream that you can make a difference in your life, I mean, I still think that there's a place for it.
Oh,
So
I
right now,
100%
HGTV,
agree.
yeah, and right now on HGTV, I'm really into the, like, people that are, like, moving abroad because I think, at some point, not anytime soon, but, once the kids are out of the house and grown up, I would love to be able to live abroad. So now they have, like, House Hunters International, and that's kind of the one I'm into
Crazy.
right
I
now.
did not know that about you.
Yeah, I would love to live abroad. I really would. So
I kind of want to
be
live
great.
out of an RV.
Mm.
Wouldn't that be fun?
That's a great idea, actually, especially it depends on the RV. Because I
Oh
didn't
yeah. I mean,
know
it's
how
gotta be
good
nice.
But I didn't know how good RVs could be until I went to a home show one time, and I was like, "Wait a minute." Like, I
Yeah,
had
I'm
no
moving
idea.
in.
Yeah. You can, like, expand them, and they have everything. It's almost like a tiny house on wheels.
Oh yeah. I think maybe my max would be, I don't know, maybe 3 months or so. And then you have to stop in at a hotel every once in a while. But I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I do too. No, I do too. Especially when you have family, there's a lot of places you can stop and, kind of keep those relationships going and see America. Because that's the other thing. As much as I want to travel internationally, I probably should, check out my own country a little bit closer too.
Yeah, I say the same thing. I love the
And
Oktoberfest, so I go over to Germany, like, try to every year. And there's so many places I haven't even been here. So I agree with
yeah,
you.
I've never seen the Grand Canyon.
Neither have I. Oh, wait, no, I have. Niagara Falls, totally
I
different.
haven't been to Niagara
I
Falls
have
either.
not seen that.
I've seen Mount Rushmore. Have you seen Mount Rushmore?
I have seen Mount Rushmore, and
Okay. So, but I
that was
still there's many many boxes to check right here that we can just jump in the car and go to right
yeah,
now.
totally. All right, so part one of the things we like to do on the show, Maya, is give some tidbits, some advice, something that will help the listener enhance their career, move their career forward. So take me back to that very first flip and tell me what was the biggest lesson?
I think I had a lot of success on my first flip. So I would say it's just the take the leap part, Kevin. Because I mean, like, honestly, I thought about it for probably 2 years before I actually pulled the trigger. And even though the market was still great when I did pull the trigger, had I pulled it the 2 years before, I mean, my goodness, you just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and try something new. Um, and then that's, that goes even outside of fixing and flipping and, maybe acquiring rental properties. But as we get older, you think you got less time, you would be more adventurous, but it seems to be the exact opposite. So don't let that adventurous spirit get away from you. And if it's something that you've really been thinking about doing and it's on your mind, at least do yourself the service of taking one small step and not just continuing to talk about it.
I love it. Was there anything, any mistake you made? Maybe your second flip or first, any mistake you made?
We kind of touched on that a little bit, but really it was just getting too emotionally attached, over flipping. I did we just started some of the other houses were selling really high in the neighborhood. And when I would go and look at those houses, I was like, well, they have this and they have this and they have this. So, maybe we need to do that in our house so we can get that really high price. Well, had I just like called it when I called it, I wouldn't have, the interest rates wouldn't have gone up by the time I went on the market.
Yeah.
So timing is a big is a big issue, but really just not getting emotionally attached, and finishing the project so you can move on to the next one. We say that all the time to our borrowers. We want you to be successful so you'll move on to the next one.
Yeah.
But don't get stuck trying to make it perfect.
Yeah, and there's another piece of advice in there, or a nugget that I'm pulling out of what you just said,
Mhm.
which I love, by the way. In most cases, I believe fixing and flipping, you're in a similar market, so you're not taking too much market exposure because you should be in and out in 4 to 7 months, somewhere in that
Yep.
range, right? So not a lot happens in the real estate market in 4 to 7 months because real estate is just a slow moving market. It's not like stocks, right? But there is interest rate risk, and that's market risk. So the faster you get in and out of a flip, the lower the market risk you're taking.
Yeah, and I
So,
and I was out, my property, the second one was 15 months, before we sold. And we actually ended up converting a 2-1 into a 3-2. Well, we would have done really well with just that 2-1. And we would have been finished probably 6 months before we were finished, adding that additional bedroom and bathroom. And we ended up losing not a ton of money, but lost a little bit of money on it when it was all said and done. And I would say in hindsight, just doing the 2-1 and getting on out would have been the best call. And, but I guess you don't know. But that was the advice I didn't follow from my mom.
oh,
Yeah,
I'm glad you
because my
got
mom
that.
was like, just finish it and get out, and it was like, no, we do this attic loft and this whole deal. Like we could get, I'm thinking I got college money. Like, I just started getting greedy,
Take
getting
the chips
greedy.
off when you can. Yeah.
Yeah. But, the house was beautiful. I'm super proud of all I sometimes I think about the people that are living in the houses because one of the things I will say is that we never cut any corners. We made sure that the houses were safe, and that everything was done properly. So, even being part of, a new family, I know the first home that we had, a young family moved into that house with 3 kids and it was a great house and it makes me feel good. That makes me feel good too. So, yeah, well, I didn't make a killing, but someone's really enjoying a great house that I made.
It's a fantastic way to look at that. Half full, it's half full, everybody. Okay, so you had high interest rate debt on that, I think. Um, Maybe not quite as high as Pine Financial, but now you have some experience. There's different ways you can finance fix and flips. Really, three. You have
Yeah,
banks,
great.
you have like sort of middle, and then you have like hard money or private money, like what we do. And I'm oversimplifying this, of course, but if you look at those three ways to take down a fix and flip, you were sort of in the middle with that softer hard money space. What was the interest rate? Do you remember?
Yeah, so my interest rate was 10%.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, my interest rate was 10%. Actually on the first one, no. So as it was structured, I went down the more deals that I did. So the first one I did was actually at 11. And
Okay.
then by the third flip that I did, I was at 10% on that one.
Okay.
But I went the route of funding the repairs on my own. So, it was just on the acquisition part of it, and then I funded the rehab on my own.
Okay.
So,
And now you've seen so many deals in the way we do it at Pine, which I'm not saying it's better or worse. It's just a little bit different than where you were borrowing the money from. So what would you say?
it's the involvement. It's the involvement. I had very little, I don't even know that I physically had a phone conversation with my lender. She they were pretty responsive by email, but it was just, email back and forth. No, I never no one ever ran numbers on the deal. It was just kind of they kind of took our word for it and we didn't know what we were talking about. So, when I see and hear other loan officers on the phones talking to clients and I just see the attention to detail and the genuine just respect for the borrower and their time and their money, that's where I see the difference. And I even have said that on the phone sometimes, hey, we may not be the cheapest in town, but I can guarantee you're going to get the best service here. You can call and a person is going to answer the phone. Even if it's not the person you want to talk to, you are going to be able to get someone on the phone most oftentimes. And if not right away, definitely sometime soon thereafter. So I just think that there's a comfort that comes with working with Pine that I wouldn't say that I experienced. It wasn't terrible, but now seeing the other side, gosh, I could have really benefited from some of the knowledge and experience of the loan officers here at Pine.
Great. Appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
And obviously, one of the things that's important to us is that we are investors ourselves, and we work towards our own personal growth. That's how we can help our clients. And so you're doing that, and just really appreciate having you on the team. And I know you're out there making a difference. So thank you for that.
Oh no, thanks for having me.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap up here, Maya. And I just want to, I jotted down some notes. I didn't take as many notes because I was so into the conversation, but I just want to go through my notes with you here.
Hmm.
And then you tell me if there's anything on here that I missed that I should write down
Okay.
as well. But some of the nuggets that I got from you in our conversation is that mentors are essential for your success. So having someone in your corner, helping you that really does care about you is important. And whether you're brand new or you're um, very beginning or just kind of getting going, that's going to be a big piece of advice. And then the other thing that I wrote down is advice from advisors. I think
Yeah.
you said take the advice from your mom or your mentors. I really think that us at Pine Financial are advisors. We're trusted advisors, and we want to help our clients through the deal. So that's why I wrote down advisors. That wasn't your word, that was mine. But what was your word is the advice. Get motivation from where you can. So you got it from HGTV, you got it from um, what your mom didn't really motivate you, but she definitely helped mentor you. Your motivation really came from people around you, and then the TV show.
Yeah.
And then the one I love the most, and you and I share this, is you gotta just take the leap, guys. That is 100% the hardest part. And if you're working with someone like Maya, and you do take that leap, you have somebody in your corner you can call and ask questions and bounce ideas off of. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, Maya, but I have a feeling if they ask you to come out and visit the property and help them with something, you probably get in the car and go out there and help them.
Yeah, no, we've gone out and done site visits on houses, and it's like you said, it's kind of corny, but why not you? Why not? Why can't you be
Yes, love
successful?
that.
Why not you? And I think we have to ask ourselves sometimes that way. And my dad always says, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So
Why not you? I'll write that one
yeah,
down too. I love that. Okay, my last note here is don't get emotional. That sounded like your biggest mistake as a real estate investor.
okay,
And
yeah,
it went from maybe not making a ton of money, but making money to losing a little bit because it
losing,
just
yeah,
took you so long to get through the project.
yeah, agonizing over tile and agonizing over, how we wanted the staircase to look and calling in a million people to give us estimates on something to save like, $100. I mean, just it over and over and over again, I could say that the time that was lost, trying to get every little detail correct and the truth is that people are going to move into a home and they're going to make it their own. So you don't have to do that for them. You have to do just enough to attract them to it. But they're going to come in and put those new light covers on the
Yeah,
switches if they want to. You don't have to decide whether you're doing chrome or black for a week.
yeah, exactly
So
right.
yeah. And I'm guilty as charged.
And sometimes done is better than perfect. I know you took a lot of pride.
Yeah.
So this might go against a little bit of your feelings, but look, the buyer's going to have an inspection. They're going to get in there, and you could even offer a little warranty or something, if you
Yeah.
want, if that makes you more comfortable. But gosh darn, get it done.
Yep.
That's how you make money in this business. All right, is there anything I missed in my notes?
No, no, it was great talking to you.
All right. Well, I really appreciate your time. Looks like we're about almost 40, about 35 minutes in. So that's 35 minutes that you're never going to get back. But I do appreciate you
No, it
coming on
flew
here.
by, flew by. You're
I
always
had a
so
lot of
busy.
fun.
You're always so busy. I have
Yeah.
to book a podcast so we can talk.
Yeah. I've had other guests tell me that. That's funny. The one thing about podcasting that's so great is you really do get someone's undivided attention for that 30 or 40 minutes. So whether I'm guesting on somebody else's or I'm the host, it is special, that little 30, 40 minutes. So appreciate you saying that.
Great.
So for the listener, thank you so much for your 35 minutes. We know that you could be doing other things or listening to other podcasts, and you chose this one, and we really, really appreciate it. Please give us a 5-star review so we can get this out to more investors like you. With that, thank you again, Maya, and I want you, listener, viewer, make this day a great one. Thank you. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. If you did, please be sure to follow and leave us a review. Oh yeah, and tell a friend.